All right, let's try this again. Check, check. Okay. Sorry about that, guys. I just set up a video live stream and then I realized the microphone was set up to the internal mic once again instead of just defaulting to this one here. I don't know why it's doing that. It's weird. Let's see if I can move you guys. No, I think that's fine. We'll just leave you guys right there, I guess. I don't know. All right, that's better. That's a little bit more centered right there. Something like that. Oh my gosh. All right, whatever. All right, good morning, everyone, and welcome. What's going on, ANCAP? Hey, yo. So, before I get started, just want to ask you a question. Since when did orca killer whales get mustaches? Have you seen the orca killer whales and their mustaches? It's just a silly question. So, it's a Mandela effect. I don't know if you follow the Mandela effect, ANCAP, or anyone else watching, but the Mandela effect, basically, it's these memories that some of us remember, and then now when you go to like check on things or look at things, they're completely different. And I don't know if it's something that has to do with like AI, and if they've just been testing out AI for many, many years on us, and they're just like trying to make us all feel delusional and make us like question our own memories and things like that, or what. But from the time that I've always remembered, growing up in California, going to SeaWorld, knowing about Shamu and also Shamoose. What's going on, Pro Cannabis Warrior? Good morning and welcome in. We're talking about Mandela effect and the orca killer whale. When did they get the mustache? So, I've grown up, in California, going to SeaWorld, knowing about Shamoose, which I think was the baby, and seen the shows several times. Growing up on the ocean coast, on the Pacific coast in California, knowing about sea life. Sea life is one of the big things that I love to just work with and make all the time. And I got this cool killer whale right here. I'm gonna show you guys. Here, let's not waste all that. So, and before we get into the wigwag, I just got this crazy question. Just wanted to ask, when did they get the mustache? So I've always remembered that the whales, they got their spots, right? Right? All their markings, right? No actual mustache. The mustache that I'm talking about is this. And the thing is on this one, I've seen them where they go the other way. And it's like they have an actual little mustache on them. I'm like, wait, when did the orcas get this marking on top? This is our kid's toy. This is our son's toy. And apparently now the orca killer whales have a marking just right above their top. What is this? A dorsal fin? And so, when did they start getting their little mustaches here? I've seen them where they go the other way though, and then it looks like there's like an indentation in the top, like a little mustache. I don't know if I can look it up and find one. I don't know. You guys go Google it. Just Google orca killer whales. Look at the photos, and then let me know if you can find one without it. It's kind of weird. I saw a glass blowing. Uh, a photo, an image of a little tiny glass orca, little baby one. It was so cute and tiny. It was like so little, short, little tiny thing to like fit right on your fingertip. You know, just this little tiny thing. But it didn't have the mustache. It just had the one dot right here, and then it had another like dot or marking on the back over here, and that was it. And I was like, you forgot the mustache. I like to mess around with people who may not have ever even known or heard about the. Here, I'll just leave him right there. We'll put him next to a rubber ducky. Yeah, I got a rubber ducky on the table so I can make glass rubber duckies. I finally made one, and I gave it to my daughter. She's got a collection of rubber ducks, and she actually gave me her rubber ducky. I don't know if it squeaks. Quack, 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 quack. But yeah, he's gonna go on a ride on this killer whale now. Somehow. There you go. All right. So yeah, somehow there's mustaches now in the orcas. I don't know when that happened or whatever. Oops. Uh-oh. We're gonna have some camera issues here today. It's like I got it like perfectly in my face. I moved everything. Okay, let's just leave it like that. So also now, let me show off the pendant from yesterday that I made. So we worked on that wigwag, right? And basically, it was like a twisted piece of color like that. And so it's pretty dark and white. And so this is how it came out. I'll show you the back side of it. So this is where I drew all the lines and then spun it one way, spun it another way, spun it another way, flattened it down. So you're looking at the rod that's then got flattened and mashed out. And it's got all those designs in there. And I wish I could show you better detail quality of it. But this camera doesn't do any justice. And there's the front right there. And as you can see, that light coming through brings that awesome eyeball right there in the center. That was a mistake that I basically fixed, right? But look at that. That looks sweet. And that, man, that's a big one right there. That one is, dang, that's 45 millimeter. That's four and a half centimeters. I know 25, so that's almost 2 inches. Because 25.4 is 1 inch. So that's almost 2 inches right there, guys. Or 45.83 millimeters. Or basically 4.5 centimeters. So that's a beauty. Look at how big that is. And then I decided I'd make a couple more. So then I made another one. Very similar to that one. But let me show you the difference. That was the size I was trying to go for. And even smaller than this. I'm trying to get even smaller than that. But this one took an hour and a half. This one took like, I don't know, 45 minutes. And this one doesn't have the dot to create the eye. But it almost looks like there's something in there. But I put a red dot in that one as well. And then so we got those two. And that one, oh, let me show you. If I can show you, I don't know. You can't really see. I wish you could see the detail of that. This camera doesn't do justice. You know, I have a GoPro, and I haven't even used it once ever. And then we got this one. And this one I did with the caramel and I think a little bit of black and a little bit of white. And that one I think came out pretty sick. And you can see because of that, there's like the really dark with the really light. That is what I really need to do, is have the contrasting color. So I need to always put in some like black or some dark cobalt or some dark color with some really light color. So that one came out beautiful. So I'm thinking probably $30 to $40 on these smaller ones, and I don't know about this big one. This big one I might hold on to for myself, and just to show off a big old medallion, just to wear something. Since I'm known as the Glass Man, I might as well wear a big old gigantic, enormous, ridiculous, obnoxious piece, right? I should just make one bigger. Be like Flava Flav. So yeah, so these are now up and available. And I'd prefer to sell them locally, because then I don't have to worry about shipping and things like that. But if you're willing to pay for shipping and you'd love one of these, let me know. All right, so we're going to get started here. What do you guys think about the orca whale? Is it supposed to have that mustache on its back? Do you remember the mustache or not? Is it just me? Why does he have that little mustache on the back of his dorsal fin? All right, so this morning I've basically been working on a whole bunch of jellyfish. That's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna work on more jellyfish here. I'll probably just finish up this ribbon cane that I made. So we'll just continue making more. And we're almost out. I'll probably use the last of this little short piece here and one or two more, and then I'll have to pull another one. So every time I pull more, this gets shorter, and so we'll see. So how you guys doing today? Anything big going on? And Cap, I see that you've been out busy lately. There's a lot always going on here in Albuquerque. I don't know if you know this, ANCAP, but I have a bunch of playlists on my channel. If you check them out, one of them is called Crazy Albuquerque, dedicated to us, and I bet you I got a lot of your videos there saved, because Crazy Albuquerque. Yeah, we got a lot of stuff going on. They actually recently deployed the National Guard here before they deployed them in LA. Or actually, it was like they were talking about deploying them here for a while, even though things weren't even like really bad. They're just like, oh, we could just have a homeless situation, and crime is a little bit out of hand here, right? So we're going to bring in the National Guard. And people are like, what? Like, why are you bringing the National Guard just for that? Like, that's interesting. So, for me, I understand where we're headed to. We're in the Great Reset. I don't know if you guys heard about the Great Reset or not, but things are changing. They have to reset every system that they've put into place, and they got to dismantle the system in order to build up a new system, a globalization system, connecting us all together as one global, one unit. And so they brought in the National Guard here. They're planning on doing so before anything popped off in LA. And they're supposed to have deployed them right here in the war zone. I live in the war zone. What's considered the war zone in Albuquerque. It's not like we got some big old war going on or anything. It's just a lot of crime, a lot of homicides and things like that. And a lot of that is just, people on the streets, um, take, and there's situations. Every once in a while, innocent bystanders will become involved somehow, or get caught up in the mix. But usually it's like, if there's anything going on out there in the streets, that's where it's at. It's not like, I mean, it does trickle over to, of course, the um, robbery and things like that, breaking and entering, those kind of situations. But that also happens everywhere. Every city has a robbery and theft and people who are struggling. And so instead of using money, because either they don't have money, or they can't find a job, or they're not willing to work, or they're in a bad situation where they don't have an ID, they lost their ID, they don't have a birth certificate, they can't get their social security because they don't have an ID, because they don't have a social, because, like, it's that whole runaround. And it's really hard, if you've lost any of your documents, to be able to become a citizen in society. So then you have to play the game outside of society. And yeah, they figure out different ways and different means, and sometimes that's a part of what they do, is stealing. And that's not, it's never right to steal, it's never right to take anything that isn't yours if someone else worked hard for. But at the same time, there's a lot of stuff that's been stolen, like land and water, and now air quality. And ain't no one batting an eye about any of that. During the whole lockdowns and stuff, I don't know if you guys heard or realized that there was like 1 foot of topsoil that was basically removed from a lot of U.S. farms, American farms, and sent back to China. And the farmers were getting paid to shut down their productions. They were getting paid 2 to 3 times the amount that they would actually be getting if they just continue to keep production going, and then have to sell all their goods and everything at the end of the season. They just got paid to shut down everything, and then get paid money for their topsoil as well. I don't know if you guys knew about any of that or followed any of that, but a lot of stuff is getting stolen in different ways. But yeah, but we have a place called the War Zone here, and apparently they were supposed to bring down the National Guard here. They're deployed to Wyoming and basically Central. I don't know if you guys watch any any of the local videos here. I know we got some locals here that watch my channel, and there's a guy named Bugs. He does like ride-alongs where he's on his e-bike and he rides around. And he always goes over to the McDonald's on Wyoming and Central, where there used to be the MG's bar, and it's always been a really bad neighborhood. And for some reason, they've just like gathered there. Like, it's kind of like the way roaches form, and then they just kind of all huddle together in the same corner. You go clean it, and then they come right back. Like, they find their little dark little corner spots they like to hide out in. We were actually filming a movie, Urban Justice, with Steven Seagal at the MG's bar when it was still open. They demolished it and rebuilt something there. It was a really nice building, and they were going to have like a dental office there and some stuff. And As soon as it was built and leased and the dental office moved in, it was shut down right away. I think they had too much crime. I think people were going in stealing the copper and stuff like that. Which you would think, if there's an issue with like copper being stolen so much, that you would have like you'd have like investigations with the the metal scrap yards, right? And trying to figure out, well, who's bringing in what, and where did you get all that from? You know, like there should be some sort of security measurement set up, like a checkpoint at each metal. But I guess because of its value, even the metal yards are like, oh yeah, no, we want it. We'll melt it down and it'll be out of sight, out of mind, right? You're setting up the pool for, oh, getting hot. Yeah, getting got by the sun too. I do a lot of yard work. I actually got to leave here in about an hour or less. I figured I'd probably do like an hour video here till close to 8:30. It is 7:50 right now, if my clock is correct. Oh, rushing. Not time yet. So I'm just working on jellyfish here, and I just messed up. I thought it was a regular mushroom. So that's cool. You're setting up the pool. Just a little small kiddie pool, or you got a big above ground pool? Man, I wish we had a yard. We actually have a nice inflatable, like a 2 foot or 3 foot tall pool that we actually bought so we could use for a home birth. And we weren't able to do the home birth, and we never used the pool. So we have a brand new swimming pool in the box still, and we haven't been able to set it up anywhere yet. I almost forgot to put the cobalt on the back of this. Oh, okay. So like a 3.5 meter circle, pretty much. So not that deep. I'm taking it like about a meter, less, half a meter. You know, now that it's summertime, I should actually plan a day to go to the local swimming pool, take our son out. He loves to swim. So I think I've made like at least 5 of these so far, 4 or 5 of them. I don't really know how long they take for me to make. About 20 minutes each, I guess. We were talking so long about the orca whale, probably a good 5 minutes, 10 minutes, and then showing off the wigwags. Okay, cool. 99 centimeters and what? 10,000 liters? And, I don't even know. I know what the size of a bottle of water is, a liter, but we're always using gallons here. Gallons. Gallons and gallons. So what's 1 gallon? Is it, what, 8 liters? Close to? 8 point something, almost 9 liters, 8.5 liters, 8.3? I don't know. It's something like that is 1 gallon. And so I've always said that if you weigh like 150 pounds, that you should be drinking half your body weight in ounces. So we use ounces and gallons. I don't know if isn't is an ounce metric? I don't think so, right? It'd be grams. Well, but weight in water or volume in water. But I've always said that, you need half your body weight in ounces of water. So if you're 150 pounds, you should be drinking 75 ounces of water just in order to maintain uh, what your body needs and brain function and things like that, and being able to stay from being going dehydrated. Now, if you're a roofer, if you're a gardener, you're outside working all the time, and you have to up your intake a little bit. So I'm just wondering, how does that work out? Ounces to gallons. I think it'd be cool to know how many liters a person would need to drink. What's a liter? Like 16.9 fluid ounces? All right, so we just added the blue on the back here, and we're gonna mash this down. I'm not really doing a tutorial or anything like that. I just figured I'd go live, do some little glass blowing here, um, do as many jellyfish as I possibly can right now, and also I need to make as many glass balloons as I possibly can. I'm hoping to get some wholesale accounts going, and I really need to just crank these out. It's quite possible that I may scale back from doing as much yard work, and I kind of see that I have this opportunity right now where Monday mornings I'm pretty freed up. I don't have a client Monday morning, not till the afternoon. And then on Tuesdays, I used to have a client for 5 hours, and I miss that. I miss being able to have that. But I'm also thinking I now have a Tuesday free and available that I can just blow glass all day and dedicate my Tuesdays to the torch. Torch Tuesdays, huh? We just live stream 24 hours on Tuesday. Just kidding. What's the longest you can live stream on YouTube? Does anyone know? And Cap, are you still here? What's the longest live stream you've ever been able to do or that you've done? I don't know if ANCAP's still here, but he does a lot of live streaming of the different things going on. He's here as a ANCAP gamer, but he also does a ANCAP cop watch, and he does a lot of watching the APD, the Albuquerque Police Department. So that's what I watch him and know him as. I'm not so much into video games and watching gamers. Our son is. He's like totally hooked and addicted to that. I try to get him away from it and be like, all right, that's like enough, man. You're just watching people playing video games. You're not even playing them. You're learning all the hacks and all the tricks. I guess if we ever get him a video game console, he'll just be able to whoop some butt. We just unleash him like Ryan's World, and then we'll exploit him. Just kidding. uh, yeah, it's kind of interesting. He sees his mama. He like as long as I've uh, for longer than I've been with his mom, I was doing live streams and um, I was on YouTube. I don't know if I was back on YouTube in 2000, definitely 2012, but I'm wondering if I was on there like in 2008, like a little bit sooner than that. I definitely wasn't on it like in 2004 or 5 whenever it started, but I think I possibly was on YouTube 2008 with my first channel, Glassman TV or The Glassman TV or something like that. It's still up. I don't know what the password is, so that's why I just changed it over to the Glassman's World. But I used to have a channel called Glassman TV or The Glassman TV. I think it was just Glassman TV. 12 hours on YouTube, then restart, huh? Sorry, you're just listening, doing the full. Nah, you're good. 35 degrees to us, that would be in Fahrenheit, and that would be like freezing. 32 degrees is freezing in Fahrenheit. But what, 35 degrees would be what, like 90 Fahrenheit? 35 Celsius? We're reaching the triple digits here the last few days. Summer was last week. I believe, what was it, Wednesday was the summer solstice? Or sometime last week we had the full moon or the new moon. Is it the full moon or is it the new moon? I thought it was the new moon that creates the solstice. Maybe it's the full moon? I don't know. Now I'm confused. I was thinking I might try to get a hold of the Albuquerque Aquarium gift shop again and see if they want to carry these. The last time that I tried to get a hold of them, because I used to have an account there at the Albuquerque Aquarium gift shop, and they would retail these for $49.99. I sell mine for $30 online. Here in person in Albuquerque, I sell them for $20 and two for 30. So locals get an awesome deal here. But anything that's $30 online would be two for 40. So then you'd still get an awesome deal. And better than what they were selling them at $49.99. I think they were $49.99. They could have been $39.99, but I'm pretty sure they were $49. That one is a little stubby one. I didn't really like the way that one came out too much. Oh, look, it looks better like that. Looks better with the background. I don't know. It's in there. Little tiny shorty guy. All right. I'll drop him in the kiln. We'll see how many we got. This might be 5 or 6. All right. That's number 5. So that's a good day so far at $20 a pop. Not here. I'm melting. 6 months cold here. Do I have enough? Probably not. All right. So now we're going to stretch some more of this. So this is all I do. I just attach it, and I'll just attach it to the little piece that's on there. It's a little tiny skinny one compared to that one. You can see. That's cool. I can do that looking at the camera or looking at the monitor. I wasn't even looking at the glass. I was looking at the monitor. I was able to hit them. Boom, boom. That's kind of hard to do. I think that's just muscle memory. Being able to keep my hands separated like that directly across from one another. All right, so we're just gonna heat up this. It's like, I don't know. I'd say about like a 4 or 5 millimeter piece, and we're gonna pull it down to like 2 or 3 millimeters here. And I can probably only make like 1 or 2 more of these, so I don't really need to pull too much, and I'll just leave enough to do like 2 more jellies here. So yeah, that should be enough to do at least 2, if not more. And actually, I'm noticing this portion here is thicker than the rest, so I'm going to pull this whole thing down actually. So I guess ANCAP Gamer took off. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you coming in. He's always got some interesting stuff going on. The other day we had this big old semi truck, a tanker. I believe it was empty. I don't know what it normally hauls. I don't know if it hauls milk or gasoline, but it's one of those big old tanker trucks. And it got hit by a tow truck while it was like had a truck in tow or some kind of vehicle in tow. And that tow truck hit the back of the semi near some sort of like on ramp or off ramp, or somehow the back of that truck, the semi truck, got caught up on the side of like the concrete rail, that keeps traffic from falling off the side of the freeway onto traffic below as you're going through like an underpass, on like where the street is, and you go under it where the freeway goes over. That truck almost fell all the way over. It's like on Cole, which is a one way. A lot of people use that from coming from downtown and coming up this way to uptown. And yeah, that whole area I think got shut off. That was about what, 3 or 4 days ago? So you can probably see that on ANCAP Cop Watch, not ANCAP Gamer. But I like to give him a shout out. I watch his channel a lot. I watch a lot of people's channels. If you have a channel and you upload or you do live stream, let me know. because I will probably subscribe if you got something interesting and cool going on. I pretty much subscribe to every channel that I watch, and if it's entertaining enough, and I'm like, oh yeah, this is cool, then I just subscribe. Like, because I want to be able to see that content again, and I don't know if I don't subscribe, will it come back in my algorithm in my feed again? So I just subscribe. I'm like subscribed to 10,000 channels or something ridiculous. How do I utilize that? 10,000 channels I'm subscribed to. I should do a challenge. Every channel that I'm subscribed to, we'll see if I can get them to subscribe to my channel and get up to 10,000 subscribers. Except I'm just putting a number out there. I don't know if I have 10,000 in my subscriptions. I don't know how many. I should find out. Oh, word. You're still here. And Cap Gamer. Yeah, it was cool when you were like the first time that I caught you, you were like right around the corner and we were hearing the flashbangs in our apartment, and I went outside like, dang, what's going on over there down the street? And so I just know someone's possibly going to be live, so I just like try to find it and search it, and lo and behold, your channel came up, and I was like, cool. I'm like, this guy's just like a few blocks away, and that was like the first time I started watching you, and then I started following your channel and watching more and stuff. And then you were back again, like several blocks away, like a little bit further than the first time, but not that far. I don't know, like maybe 5 to 8 blocks up from me. Short little blocks, residential street. So I went over there and went to go meet you and took you a little cool. Actually, I took you a jellyfish, what I'm working on right now. Didn't even think about that. So I took you a cool little jelly, and then you showed it off on your channel there. I don't know if anyone was ever interested on your channel, but you can let them know that you can get them at wholesale if you want to make some money. I don't know if you're monetized, right? You got merchandise. Like, man, I didn't even think about that. You could put the Glassman's World jellyfish on your channel because you showed it off to your viewers. They would probably want to purchase some, and I could get it to you at wholesale, and we could both make money. Let me know if you're interested. All these ideas that I got, I'm like, huh, networking, that could work. Didn't even think about that till now. You just give away a bunch of stuff to different channels. Like the miniatures, I've been wanting to get those miniatures out to someone on YouTube. An actual cookable cookware, glass cookware set made for the miniature, the tiny universe, the miniature world, where there's a bunch of YouTubers that work with miniatures and they cook food, make little tiny steaks and eggs and all kinds of little stuff. I don't even understand how they do it, but they do. Like they'll use a little tiny quail egg instead of a regular egg to make an omelet in, like, Barbie's kitchen or something. All right, what time is it? 8? Okay, 8:15. I'll finish this one up and I'll probably let you guys go. I didn't really have anything too much to share. I just wanted to show off the Wagz from yesterday. That was the main purpose of this video, and just to make some more glass and kind of hang out and chill. But I've been following the um, John Hicks. I don't know if you guys went to check out his channel yet or subscribe, but John Hicks is out there in LA and he's writing every day and going live streaming. He was out again last night checking out the streets, and it looked quiet last night. I don't know if the night before the cops really shut everything down or what happened, but I've been following that a lot. There's one crazy story that's been going on here in Albuquerque. I don't know if you were ever following it, ANCAP, but the Topia Chew tragic story that unfolded here in Albuquerque. Topia Chew is this like cringe creator on TikTok. I call her a cringe creator. There's a lot of cringe out there, a lot of stuff that people put out there, and it's just a lot of just really, really bad stuff, negative stuff. But this individual, she had a really bad situation happen to her. After making a lot of cringe content and talking crap about a lot of people, and then a situation unfolded here. And the only reason why I even know about this person now is because it unfolded here in Albuquerque, and it happened to end basically in the backyard of my best friend's home and his mom, which is like, like my second mom. And so I was following that story, and then I was like trying to figure out what had happened through them, because I knew that they probably had heard what was going on right over their back wall, maybe even could see what was going on, you know. And yeah, it was just a really bad situation. Um, the car was stolen, and a pew pew was used, and her brother is now deceased. Her mother had to go through recovery in the hospital. I don't know if she had to get any sort of facial reconstructive surgery or what. Luckily, thankfully, she survived the horrendous attack. And yeah, that situation just got so crazy. But now I'm like following her story, and it's just a real sad story. But then it makes me realize, that there are people out here in this world that are just like this individual Tofiachu, who are like just, they're literally like scraping what they can, but in this weird new age digital realm. It's like, I don't know, I call them like they're digital beggars or whatever. They're just panhandling online. They're like panhandlers, and it's an interesting situation. But then, if you can monetize your channel and you can make money, well, we live in a capitalist society. This is the land of the free, and it's all about entrepreneurship and business marketing 101, and whatever you can do to make a buck in order to keep paying bills and paying your taxes, right? Keep on taking care of Uncle Sam so you don't get slammed by the Sam. But yeah, it's just interesting how there's a lot of people like that on TikTok and things, and they're making bank. They're making so much money. There's people making millions, and they go out there and they can afford to like destroy Lamborghinis in the desert. Like what's his name? Win Dixie, Win Diesel, and like all kinds of other people. They got so much money they could just do whatever's with, right? Like Mr. Beast and all kinds of like crazy content makers. And then I'm over here unmonetized. I'm considering about like should I get monetized or should I just always just put my PayPal link and become an e-bagger as well. I mean, become a content creator, right? No, I guess if you're providing content that people find is valuable and they wanna spend on you, then that's cool. Today, my arm is messing with me. I have an arm injury from I don't know if it's from blowing glass for so long. I've been doing this for 30 years now, and my right shoulder has a really bad pinch. I don't know if it's a nerve, I don't know if it's a muscle, a tendon. I don't know what it is, but something in my arm, in my shoulder, my right shoulder specifically, when I'm holding it up for so long, because I don't know if you guys realize this, but I got to keep my arm like in this kind of an angle, bent, bent at the elbow. The glass is, my arm is pretty much um, level with the glass, so the glass is parallel with the table. So my arm is like just standing straight up. My shoulder is like cocked up to where, if you held your arm straight out to the side, but then like almost like a half salute, like you're about to salute, but you don't bring your hand all the way up. You just bring it down from here. My arm is up constantly, but then you're also spinning. So you're using these muscles in your arms and your shoulder that you don't regularly use. So blowing glass it's not an easy task. It's something that, it requires experience. It requires the time to like start small and work your way up. That way you can work up to like holding bigger items and things. And I got to the point where I was working on 2-inch tubing by hand. Now most glass blowers they will use a lathe. Like in the wood shop they have wood lathes. Well, we have glass lathes where they hook it up to the chuck and then it spins for them, and they can like have the rotation slow or they can have it fast, and that's how they make those really really big pieces that are like 2 inch or 50 millimeter in diameter. Is that diameter? I'm pretty sure it's diameter, not circumference. Yeah, diameter. And so after making a few pieces like that by hand, I think I blew my shoulder out. I overworked it one summer just making some really nice pieces for a friend who was allowing me to live with him and stay there in their garage, which was like a big open workshop, and also like it was comfortable, had like a couch and a TV. It's like a lounge. But then he worked on jewelry. He's a silver goldsmith and set stones and things. So he's a jeweler, and he had space for me to set up my glass blowing torch. And I think he wanted to learn how to get on and do that, but he didn't ever want to get on my torch. I think he was worried that he might like mess up my equipment, mess up my torch, and he didn't want to do that. He wanted to just get to the point of being able to afford his own. I eventually gifted him one of my extra torches, which is it's just sitting. I don't know if it's being used. He might actually be using it for jewelry, which would be cool. For silver. It would be nice to have that extra torch now, though. Maybe I can borrow it back every once in a while, and specifically for next month. But then I'd also have to get regulators, which I believe I have an extra pair of either oxygen or propane regulators, and I would just need to get another set, another regulator. Well, not set, but another one, so I could have a set. So then I don't have to tear down my whole torch here, which it just takes a lot to have to tear it all down. We're doing live glass blowing demonstrations. So I'm going to be planning to do that next month here in Albuquerque for what we call Summerfest. It's a summer event in Nob Hill. They already did the Northeast Heights one at Santo Domingo Park, which I didn't realize was last week. So I missed that one. You guys got any questions for me or anything? I'm just rambling on. If you have any questions and you're watching after the live stream, just leave a comment below and I will definitely get back to you. I was almost going to do a live stream on beginner glass blowing and basically on how to make your glass, like turning it from, like everyone when they start blowing glass, they they just want to try it out, see if they can do it. Pretty much start out as a hobbyist, right? But when is it that you actually decide you want to turn this into a career and actually start making money with it? And then what are the steps that it takes to actually do something like that? So I was almost going to do a live stream on that this morning and talk about setting up wholesale accounts, how to retail to individuals, how I did it, things like that. I started out doing home showings, or we would just like open up our home. We'd have like basically like house parties, Tupperware parties at our home. But I was selling hemp and glass and clay, Fimo clay and hemp macrame necklaces and stuff. And ever since then, I've figured out how to like market myself and just get my glass out there to the public, and also to as a wholesaler to retailers, to different shops, meeting different owners or managers, purchasing managers, and things like that. So blowing glass is one thing, but then once you get to a point where you're like, wow, I need to get this out there. How do you get it out there? Like I'm talking about going back into the Albuquerque Aquarium gift shop. What is that going to entail? Like what are the steps? Do I just go there and just show up in person with some on and just see if maybe by chance I'll just run into a manager? Do I call first, find out when the managers are available? Do I set up an appointment, let them know what's going on? Um, Also, the last time when I did have my account going with them, or they had an account with me, I don't know how you want to look at it. Um, I had them supplied for about a year, and then I got into making the e-cig. Um, I created the world's first glass drip tips for the electronic cigarette, and and the reason how I can claim that is because I may not have been the first one to have created one, and use one, but I was the first one to get it out there on the world market through TheESig.com. I fortunately somehow um, knew the owner of TheESig.com in high school, and years later he found out I was a glass blower, and he hit me up and asked me if I could create these plastic drip tips into glass. And so we created the world's first glass drip tips and put them on the market on his website. There was another company called Trippy Tips. I'll give them credit where credit's due. And Trippy Tips, apparently the owner there, I forget his name, but he started making his mouthpieces or his e-cig trippy tips, drip tips for himself, and he had them made, I would say, 4 months before I made mine, and I had never seen his before I had made mine. I had never seen his before until I started getting these comments saying how he was the first maker, the world's first maker of the drip tips. And so I then put that claim in quotes as the world's first glass drip tips, because he might have made them for himself, but we made them for the world, on a world production, on a large mass production scale, which one person isn't very mass production. Eventually, China stole my design, which we came up with just using a plastic drip tip, which was probably China's design in the first place. So we stole China's design and turned it into glass, and then they ended up stealing the design back in glass. But the reason why I didn't continue was because they started to retail theirs at the price of my wholesale. I was wholesaling them at $5 each. They were retailing for $12 to $15 at all the different e-cig sites that I was selling to. Well, we were selling them at the esig.com at first, but then we had a falling out. And that day when we had a falling out, I ended up creating cosmicglass.com, cosmic with a K. And that became, hold on. Sorry. That became website. Sorry, I got sidetracked because I believe my wife's caregiver is here, and I think the front door is locked. So, but I left the screen door open for the kitty cat to look outside and watch the birds and everything. So I got to go open the door real quick. I'll be right back just to sign out. Or actually, I'm just going to let y'all go. Thank you guys for tuning in and watching. I don't know if there's any more content. I wish I know about the glass 30 years ago. I would try the career thing. Oh yeah, well it can happen. I started selling right away within 2 years and decided I'm going full time with it right away. So I did it right away, but it was scary. I'm 53, bit old to start, but I would love to make and sell a few things. Yeah, let's do it. I can definitely wholesale, and we can get stuff to you. All right, I gotta go open the door. You guys have a good day. I'm out.